Hi students, and welcome to today's lesson. I'm Ms. Albina. Today we will continue to explore the question, how long have butterflies survived on Earth? Are you ready? Grab your pencil and your science journal and let's get started. Let's take a trip to the past. No, not 100 years ago, not even 1,000 years ago. Let's go back millions of years. All right, we've traveled millions of years into the past. Now look around you. What do you see? Do you think butterflies were around millions of years ago? If you said yes, you are absolutely right. Butterflies did live millions of years ago. Do you think those butterflies looked the same as butterflies today? Sure, I know that butterflies have 4 colorful wings and a thin body, but was that also true of butterflies that lived millions of years ago? I could draw a picture of what I imagine butterflies were like millions of years ago, but I know it wouldn't be an accurate representation because I don't have any evidence to help me with my drawing. But wait, take a look at this. Scientists found the object in this photograph in a rock. After this video, you will record your observations and questions about this photograph in the Notice and Wonder chart in your science journal. You'll record your observations in the I Notice column. Your observations should be statements. For example, I noticed that the object in this photograph looks black and brown. You'll record any questions you have in the I Wonder column. For example, I wonder, why is the photograph only black and brown and not colorful? Look carefully at this photograph and ask yourself, what do I notice? What do I wonder? Maybe you noticed that the object in the rock looks like a butterfly or a moth. Perhaps you saw that it looks like it has 4 wings. I noticed that it has a long, thin body. Did you notice that too? What else did you notice? Sometimes your observations lead to questions. For example, when you notice that this object looks like a butterfly, did you wonder, is this even a real butterfly? Did you ask, how did this butterfly get in this rock? Perhaps you wondered, what is the size of this butterfly? What else did you wonder? Now that we've taken some time to notice and wonder, let's learn more about this object. This is a photograph of a fossil. A fossil is the remains or impression of an organism that lived long ago. We can use fossils to learn more about organisms that lived millions of years ago. Wow, this object is a fossil of a butterfly, and this fossil was formed a very long time ago. This fossil makes me wonder, how long have butterflies survived on Earth? To better understand how long butterflies have been on Earth, we'll make a timeline. A timeline is a way to organize events over time in the order they happened. Take a look at these events. Let's put them in order from the event that happened first to the event that happened last. I'll get us started with the oldest event, the beginning of the Earth, and the most recent event, present day. So, all the rest of these events happen sometime between the beginning of Earth and today. What next? Well, I think the event closest to present day would be when our grandparents were born. I know that dinosaurs lived a very long time ago, so let's move that one somewhere near the beginning of Earth for now. This is getting tricky. What next? Do you think the earliest land plants came before or after the earliest dinosaurs? Well, I know some dinosaurs were herbivores or plant eaters, so land plants must have already been around for them to eat. Let's put earliest humans near where the other humans are mentioned, before our grandparents were born, but way after dinosaurs. Only 3 more left. What do you think? I think that the earliest flowering plants would have come after the earliest land plants on the timeline. And I know dinosaurs were around a really long time ago. So I'll put earliest flowering plants between the earliest dinosaurs and the earliest humans. And what about earliest butterflies or moths? I know insects have been around for a really long time, and I know that butterflies are a type of insect. But I don't think butterflies or moths have been around as long as dinosaurs. So let's place that event in between earliest dinosaurs and earliest flowering plants. Last one. Where do the earliest fish belong? Right here, between the beginning of Earth and the earliest land plants. Great job. Now we're not done quite yet. This relative timeline shows the order of events, but to make this a true timeline, we need to know when the events occurred. This line represents time. You'll notice the arrow at the end to show that time continues to move forward. Now let's place our events. We'll start with the earliest event. The beginning of the Earth was more than 4.5 billion years ago. That's such a long time ago, way before there were any plants or animals on Earth. I'll plot that event here on the timeline at the very beginning. The next event was the appearance of earliest fish, which lived 518 million years ago. We should plot that event here. You might wonder why the point that represents the earliest fish is so far away from the point that represents the beginning of the Earth. Well, the amount of space between the events indicates the amount of time that passed between them. A really long time passed between the beginning of Earth and the earliest fish. So we plot them very far apart on our timeline. Since all the other events occurred near the end of the timeline, let's zoom into that area. The earliest land plants lived 500 million years ago, not that long after the earliest fish. We'll plot the earliest plants close to the earliest fish on our timeline. The earliest dinosaurs roamed the Earth about 250 million years after the earliest land plants, so they go a little farther down our timeline. Next, we have the earliest butterflies or moths. Then, the earliest flowering plants. Finally, we reach the earliest humans, who lived 300,000 years ago. Our next event is the birth of your grandparents. When do you think your grandparents were born? Do you think it is closer to the present day or to when dinosaurs first appeared? Well, you might think your grandparents are pretty old, but they're not as old as dinosaurs, because that would make them millions of years old. Let's plot the point right there. Look, it's so close to the present day. Let's zoom back out. What did you find surprising about this timeline? I'm surprised that humans came after so many of the other events. Also, I can't believe how long it was from the beginning of Earth to the first organism on our timeline. Wow. This really makes me wonder how butterflies have survived for so long on Earth. They've been around for 199 million years. Butterflies seem like such small and delicate organisms, and yet they've survived for all this time. I have so many questions, and I'm sure you do too. Your second task will be to jot down any lingering questions that you still have about butterfly survival. We actually have one more event to place on our timeline. How long ago do you think this fossil formed? Where do you think the fossil will go on our timeline? It could be anywhere between the earliest butterflies and moths and present day. We could try to guess where it goes on the timeline, but we don't really have enough evidence to give it a proper place. But don't worry, we'll learn more about this fossil and its place on our timeline in future lessons.